What causes harsh roast character in porter beer? Imagine biting into a piece of toast that's just a little too burnt. That's what a harsh roast character in a porter can taste like. Porters are loved for their rich, dark flavors and smooth malt sweetness, but sometimes they can develop an unpleasant burnt or ashy taste that doesn't belong. So, what makes that happen? Well, it all starts with the dark malts used during brewing. Malts like black malt, roasted barley, or chocolate malt are kilned at very high temperatures to give porters their deep color and roasted flavors. But if too much of these malts are added, or if they're roasted too long, they can produce a sharp, bitter, or even burnt flavor that overpowers the beer. Using too much black malt or roasted barley is one of the main reasons for harshness. These malts are more intense than chocolate malt, so adding them in large amounts can make the beer taste overly burnt or ashy. Breweries that want a balanced porter usually keep these malts in check, so the roast flavor supports the malt sweetness instead of dominating it. Another factor is how the malts are roasted. If the grains are roasted at excessively high temperatures or for too long, they can develop acrid, harsh qualities. This is less common with commercial malts but can happen if the malts are processed improperly or in small batches. The choice of dark malts also matters. Some malts labeled as black patent or roasted barley tend to contribute more of that burnt flavor compared to chocolate malt or pale chocolate malt, which gives smoother, more balanced roast notes. The pH level during mashing is another piece of the puzzle. If the mash is too alkaline, it can increase the extraction of tannins and astringent compounds from the malt husks. These compounds can make the beer taste rough and amplify any burnt flavors from the roasted malts. Boiling and hopping can also influence harshness, but usually to a lesser degree. Excessive hopping or long boil times can add bitterness that clashes with the roasted flavors, making the beer seem more aggressive. Yeast and fermentation play a role too. If the yeast doesn't ferment all the sugars properly, the beer can taste sweeter and mask some harshness. But if the beer is highly attenuated and dry, the roast flavors might stand out more, making harshness more noticeable. Finally, the aging process helps mellow out harsh flavors. Young porters often taste rougher because the roast flavors haven't had time to soften. Proper conditioning allows the flavors to blend and become more balanced. For brewers, the key is to use the right amount of dark malts, avoid overroasting grains, and pay attention to mash pH and fermentation. For drinkers, choosing porters from reputable breweries that balance their roast malt profiles can make all the difference. If a porter tastes too harsh, reducing the amount of black malt or roasted barley in the recipe can help. Substituting some of these with chocolate malt or lighter caramel malts can also smooth out the flavor. Paying attention to the brewing process and ingredient choices makes a big difference in avoiding that burnt, harsh roast character.